Morning. Good morning. Welcome to Love Morning. I am John Halcyon Stin. Although, if you look at my real ID, it doesn't say Halcyon on it. My old driver's license said John Halcyon on it. Guess. What do you think? What do you think my legal middle name is, which I had to put back on my ID due to real ID regulations? I'll give you a hint. It is not Bartholomew, nor is it Shadrach, nor Meshach, nor Abednego. Although, I wish my name was Shadrach. I am a little late today. I've been rushing around this morning. I was writing rap in my dream. Let's see if I can remember it. But before that, why don't I do a quick song, an improv song? If I did the rap, that wouldn't be improv because it's pre-written. So I'll say good morning and welcome you to this day. And if you've got gratitude, come on, take a seat and stay. We got things to share that make us happy, things that make us glad. And even if you got some things that kind of make you sad, we'll try to find a way to find a lining that's silver. And if you mind some more, you'll find another builder. It doesn't rhyme and that's okay, 'cause it's Love Morning. Good morning. Good morning, Gerbot. Hello, high noon. Welcome, everyone. Oh, man. Sometimes forcing myself to sing a song is like a shot of espresso. Woohoo. Good morning. It is July, which seems crazy to me to be this far in the year. Lisa left yesterday morning early, and so I had today is my first day waking up without Lisa. And even though I miss her terribly, and it's this really interesting reflection of how integrated my life is with another person. And it's a wonderful exercise for me to kind of really be introspective about, like, in what ways is that healthy and unhealthy? It's something I've been talking about with my therapist too. I'm like, am I codependent? Or am I simply practicing and working towards secure attachment? Is my identity dependent on her? Or is my trust and comfort with her so strong that I am able to develop parts of myself? And both can be true. Elements of both can be true at different times. But it's it highlights aspects of my growth and my journey as a individual who had avoidant tendencies for most of my life into one of, really cultivating a secure attachment. My middle name is David. John David Stin is how I was born. Well, that's what I was named after I was born. I have uncles, John and Jim, who are twins, and then an Uncle David. So my brother's name is Jim, and I'm John David. I kind of like David, but I don't feel like a David. I like John because when I was growing up, it was the most popular name. So every classroom had multiple Johns. So in my mind, John is like being named anonymous, like John Doe. It's the name John to me is almost like this humility of, I am nameless. Oh, I have to have a name? Well, what's the least name I can possibly have? John. Okay, well then call me John. which is why, or part of the reason why, I also chose the name Halcyon to be the part of myself that does not fit into that category of, I would like to be as humble as possible. So being John and Halcyon allows me to inhabit the multitudes of personality that are within. High Noon says, I'm grateful for your songs. They remind me of my papa's fun improv songs. Oh, how cool that you have had that a part of your life. So the rap I was writing in my dream was like, oh my gosh, am I going to remember it now? Oh, I was writing new lyrics to either a Beastie Boys song or a LL Cool J song. Oh, well, I won't spend too much time trying to think about that. Ooh, Gerbot says, I was almost a John. I think at a certain part of time, John was a very popular name, which is cool now when I see like, oh, the popular names are like when my nephew was named Caleb, that was not he was named after my grandpa Caleb, but there's lots of Calebs his age. And Braden and things like that. I am feeling really grateful for this chapter I'm in and my relationship, and I'm really feeling grateful for the timing of it. In meaning that at the time of my life when I was pursuing being a weirdo as boldly as possible, and Burning Man, 10 Principles, evangelism, and combating sexual shame, and really pushing the edges, the culture that I lived in was accommodating to that. And it really felt like I was doing productive work for the world. And I feel like there are some shifts in the world right now that same energy, those same pursuits would be met with a lot more conflict, a lot more pushback, a lot more just negative energy, which isn't to say it isn't more needed, but everything now is, every opinion that you hold strongly, every edge that you push, there is pushback. There's so much attention put towards conflict that the same opinion that you could have said online a decade ago, you say it now, and someone's gonna, call you names and start a fight. And I feel like I didn't get as much exposure to that as I would have if I did it now. Certainly some, and I'm grateful for it. You learn a lot when you have to deal with haters. I gotta post on my I think it was YouTube. It said, "Wow, dude has gotten creepy looking over the years." I was like, "Oh." Let's see. And so I'm really grateful that my extreme extroverted weirdness and boldness was a part of my life when it is, and my social justice, energies, and that now my energies are more about inner work, relationship work, men's work, community work within my physical world and within the people that I can connect with in a personal way. I am finding less and less passion for the wide internet audience at large. I'm finding less and less desire to figure out how to get a viral video. I just watched this video, this person who is explaining how to, get huge followings and stuff. And a part of it was like, look, really analyze what's working and copy it. And then when you have anything you do that works, if you get something that finally gets the algorithm and becomes viral, just keep making versions of that exact same video over and over again. Just find different, and they show examples of, and I'm like, oh wow, that does not sound fun at all. And if I look through my feed, I see, like, what I've always tried to do is I'm like, I want to be a lifestyle artist. I want to follow the impulses and shame and embarrassment and thoughts and growth. I just want to share whatever the passion is that I'm in and have that be my art. But that really doesn't fit the way the algorithms work. And that doesn't fit the way that audiences work either, as I'm learning. Lisa told me something this week that I've really been chewing on. She's like, I don't think you develop an audience based on your best videos. I think your audience is dependent on what your worst is. She said it in a better way, but the idea being that you're judged on the worst of what you do, not the best of what you do. So Lisa, when she makes music, when she's recording songs, she makes it as best as she can. And if there's some reason she can't make it as good as she wants, it's hard for her to release it as it is. Whereas I'm like, good enough. I have thousands and thousands of videos. And a lot of them are not awesome. And so if you're here, you're probably, you are, it's a different category because I think we have a relationship. But if someone is scrolling and they see a video of me and they like, oh, cool. And then the next day I do one that's just kind of meh. They're like, I've now lost their trust. I'm not going to be somebody that they invest time in. And go, the next time a video comes up where I'm not like, have a crazy hook that gets their attention right away with, they're not going to go, well, let's see if he makes a point eventually. And it's like, oh, I am that kind of consumer. Yeah, I think that I don't give too many people a lot of chances. There's some people that I really will probably watch whatever they do, and so I started thinking, oh, I maybe need to create less and just try to make my quality better, if I care about that, And so actually this last week lately I've been trying to put more energy into videos. If you saw the one I did about Mo Willems, like I could have dropped a quick video, like something I recorded here, and I could have been done with it in 30 minutes. But I spent about 10 hours on it, I went to the studio and I did edits and backgrounds and green screen and all sorts of stuff. It's way better. But it takes a lot more work. Same with the bees one I just did. And so, it's fun. I like making stuff that's good. The hard thing is though, so I made a post in the airport about the Mo Willems thing. And that got a bunch of traction. So the more people that commented on it, the more people saw it. So it's in the it has 200 comments or something like that. To me, that's a big thing. But that was, that was a 10-minute process. I spent 10 hours, and because it doesn't get hit by the algorithm, it gets way less attention. So it's like, oh man, it's hard to justify. But that's what I'm trying to change my head around. Like, what is my goals? What do I care about? What is going to feed me? And thank goodness what is feeding me now is less about being a content creator success and more about being a good man. Okay, I'm going to look at your comments and say hello and respond, and then I will talk a little bit more about a good man epiphany or thought that I just had. Okay. Juan, good morning. Juan says, my name was going to be Eva, but then I was born a boy. Eva's a cool name. Eva as a men's name would be interesting. Yeah, Eva, Eva. It could be Evan or Eva. Eva's kind of cool as a guy's name. It's Evan without the N. Eva. Juan says, I love the morning song. They're the true joy that just comes out. How cool is that? Thanks, Juan. I don't know if you noticed, but I don't know what word was it. Was it river? I rhymed with builder, I think. I need to learn more kind of words that have lots of rhymes to them so that I can end a line and trust that I'll figure out something by the time I'm in the next line. Because I still don't know river, liver, sliver? High Noon says, I'm grateful for being able to have a spectrum of emotions when I cry, finding that some men in the men's group I am have a hard time doing that. Yeah. I'm an easy crier. I enjoy crying. I cry frequently. I cry during episodes of This Is Us every time. I cry during Ted Lasso episodes. I teared up this morning from a message I got that I'm going to share in a second. Gearbot says, props for not chasing clicks and likes and letting the algorithm be your master. And Heinen says, I love your authentic being. Thank you. And I kind of just have this faith that I know there's value. I know that there is I know that there is a value to expression without agenda. Maybe that's expression of authenticity with the intention of being transparent as opposed to the objective of being viral, and that the deep value of, or the purpose of what I consider, my dharma is may not be may not fit into mass receptivity, but I think it touches some people just right, just when it needs to. And it helps me. It's part of my practice, and it helps me to enjoy life as best as I can. And this gratitude practice, the proof is in the pudding. I am less frustrated. I enjoy things more. I am more regulated. I am a better listener. I can love people deeper. I can feel other people's suffering and pain deeper because of gratitude practice, all of it. Good morning, Steve. Good to see you. All right, so the message I got that kind of made me tear up this morning was Lisa sent me a note last night. She's gone, and so I sent her my gratitudes to her as a text and went to sleep. And I woke up and she said, I was just sitting with a friend of ours, and I guess it's relevant that the person that she's sitting with is someone who I consider to be a real teacher and mentor and a friend, but also someone who I have in a very small list of men that I have See, is there maybe there's two. He's one of two. Well, I'll say there's up to 5 men that I get to hang out with, where I pay attention to the way that they live and the way that they respond and that they answer and that they are with their kids and with their partners, because they have things that I want to embody more of in my life. I really have this deep respect that I have for all people, but some people, you're like, that was impressive. Like I would like more of that. Okay, so this person who I see in that way said to Lisa, "I'm sure there's lots I don't see, but from here, it seems like John really cares for you tremendously well." And she said, "I obviously attested and shared so much gratitude for you with him." And it made me tear up, because that is not a role or an identity that I have felt for most of my life. In fact, I have considered myself a bad partner for most of my life. I've said, like, I think I'm a good friend, I think I'm a good man, but I don't really feel like I'm a great partner. And aspects of the personality, my attention seeking, most of my partners at some point have said, like, I wish you would give the energy that you give to the internet to me. And I said, look, like, you got to accept what you get, because I do have a relationship and a commitment, and I get something from this role, and it's important. It's a priority. So deal with it. And I was, I had the kind of I wasn't ready for real partnership and commitment. I didn't want it. I wanted to be independent. And so to really feel that, no, my priority, I want to be a good partner. I want my partner to feel like they are taken care of, and they are protected, and they are valued and heard, and that I find joy in making their life better, as opposed to an old me that was like, I kind of resent having to pull away from my life to deal with their problems. And yesterday I got up from the computer and I walked around the house. I looked out our windows and I was like, wow, like I love taking care of this home and taking care of my partner. Like, wow, that is a very different sense of self than I've ever had before. And I'm so grateful that it's at this time in the world when, as I kind of began with, when being, if my passions were in being a weirdo in the world boldly, it would feel scarier than it did when that was my passion. So I'm just feeling very lucky. And I'm wishing much strength and appreciation for those that are being the bold weirdos now. Anybody else want to share any gratitude? I've been talking a lot today. I'm getting to a point with my hair where I'm having to have a whole system of how to make it dry in a way so that it is something else. So you'll be seeing me with a lot of hats, I think, in the next 6 months. Sherry says, I am grateful for singleness. It feels genuinely excellent. Yeah. Good morning, Sherry. Love you so much. I love knowing that you are sharing this moment with me and with us. And I love that you are grateful for your singleness. Yeah, I hope that my celebration of my partnership doesn't cause any sense of, you know, this is the right chapter for me right now. And there's so much beauty and growth that needs to happen and can happen in a place of singleness. And in fact, there's a lot of sometimes relationships can be the biggest obstacle to our growth and joy. It can teach us, they can be huge teachers. Like, it took relationships being good, then being bad. And it took like being with someone who's codependent to learn more about how I was being self-centered. And singleness and relationships are both required for our growth. Sherry says, I'm grateful for natural gray hair too. It's new. I've dyed my hair since 1983. It's neat to be all natural. Woo! Yeah, and one thing for me is when I bleach my hair, it changes the texture. So it's way curlier now than when I bleach it. And I wonder if I have a picture of this picture of me. I found this cray picture of. Oh, that's no, don't make it loud. I just want to say if I can show a picture. All right. Juan says, I'm grateful for a great day so far. Me too. Sherry says, I'm grateful for your chapter 2, John. Thank you, Sherry. I mean, I feel so lucky. I feel so crazy lucky. Like, I did this whole thing about how, the whole story about being mistaken for Mo Willems, who's a, gray-haired man with a white beard. In the past, people said I looked like Scott Weiland and Chester Bennington, rock stars who are both now dead. And there's a very good possibility that if I had continued in my lifestyle, that I would not live to old age either. So that has really made me really appreciate the chapter that I'm in, and the fact that I had that adventure years and I made it to this. Okay, this is showing you a little bit of, look at how, okay, I don't know if it's showing up or not. Can you see that picture of my, it says it's processing. I don't know. Well, there, look at that. Can you see that? Whoa. I mean, this gray hair is getting that size when it's dry. So I guess, man, woo. High Noon says, I'm grateful for inner growth. The mantra, I am love. I am worthy. I am able, has been pushing me deeper in the process. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that, High Noon. If you like mantras and affirmations, and you're on Insight Timer, which is an awesome tool, Betsy Finkel, who my partner with Stay Sparked is a affirmation wizard. And if you don't listen to Stay Sparked, we end every episode with her doing some affirmations. We recorded yesterday with Tovin, who is a longtime friend and the creator of Lucid functional mushroom and adaptogen drinks, which I've been drinking for a year. And we reached out to him and his partners and said, hey, do you guys want to sponsor our show? And they're like, yeah, great. So we did a little like episode with him. He's like super interesting guy, and he's like a successful DJ and entrepreneur, and so we talked to him about that yesterday. So I'm grateful for the chance to sit down and talk to him as well. All right, let's take this off the screen. Although, let me just see if I can put one other thing. Let's see if this will work. I don't know. Maybe not. Yeah. High Noon says, I'm grateful for my body. Oh, that didn't work. Oh, let me try something. Okay, I'm going to read this in a second. There we go. Now you can see. I think part of it is just anybody who has pink hair, but I guess you could kind of see. We both kind of got the square jaws. Gerbot says, I am grateful for my body's ability to heal. I had to call in sick yesterday for a bad back, but fortunately, it's mostly better today after icing, rest, and pain meds. Oh, happy to hear that. Boy, injury is a fucker of a classroom. Having to slow down, having to rest, having to not fall into a story of what this means or how long it's going to be there. So I'm glad you're feeling better. And for the healing body, it really is remarkable. I've been having a struggle. I'm grateful that I got a doctor's appointment coming up, but I have a tear in my shoulder that just is not getting better. And so I'm having gratitude for medical insurance and grateful that the things that I am unable to do are not mission critical. Like I can't really exercise with my arms. I can't lift heavy things. I can't get heavy luggage into a car. But, I can work around those things. And it reminds me of how everything else in my body is healing perfectly from, well, except for the toenail fungus. I went through like this, was it 12 weeks of meds and it didn't go away. But I'm grateful that it's not that bad. I will pass that on, High Noon. Any other gratitudes before we head off into the day? Oh man, I didn't realize I'd been talking so long. I'm grateful for this connection, grateful for the headspace of gratitude. I'm also grateful for a new podcast I've been listening to. At my reunion, I found out that 3 high school friends, Adam, Jim, and Dan, and one other person, have a podcast called We Will Rank You. And they go through albums and rank all the songs on them. Unfortunately, most of the albums they do are ones that I don't know, so I haven't listened to those. But the ones that I have listened to, I'm really enjoying hearing their really deep understanding of music and just listening to conversations of people that I haven't been friends of mine for decades, but I love hearing from these people that I used to know and get to hear who they are now. It's really been awesome. And it makes me want to record more podcasts with friends. And with that, check out, I'm going to put up a new Stay Spark today. And wherever you are, give yourself a hug. And as you are appreciating your body and its healing, the state it's in, and the state that it's constantly regenerating and healing and processing and digesting and turning food into energy, and it's so miraculous. Impulses into thoughts and synapses and So let's be grateful that we get to experience consciousness within this magical machine of meat and energy. Woo! and be so grateful that we get to share it with other human beings and learn from each other and witness the diversity and the similarity of human experiences that we're all figuring out. Let's take a deep breath in and squeeze. On behalf of Grandpa Caleb and everyone here, thanks for being here, sharing some gratitude and connecting. And if you got 2 more seconds, that's not fair. That's not, math isn't right. Maybe 20 more seconds. Just take a sec and think about, who do I want to be today? Remind yourself of any specific traits, maybe patience, maybe assertiveness, maybe friendliness. How can you be a love ambassador today? Maybe giving a compliment in a time when you're kind of embarrassed to do so. Maybe reaching out and sending a few texts to friends just saying, thinking about you. Thanks for being you. I love you.